The bag landed with a dry slap against my son's knees. Paper on denim. Laughter froze mid-breath. My father's smile lingered too long, sharp at the corners. "Poor kids get poor gifts," he said, like it was a proverb, like he was doing the room a favor. My son looked down, not at the bag, at his shoes. That was the moment something in me locked into place. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't move. I opened my phone. "Like the bills you can't pay without my money," I said. The room tilted. My father went white. My mother's fingers gripped my sleeve. "Stop," she whispered, but the truth was already standing, and it was hungry. I was the one who paid for the cake, the hall, the balloons that kept drooping like they were tired of pretending. I stood there holding a paper plate, watching my father recalibrate his face. He had always been good at that, rearranging himself when the math changed. The old king learning the crown was rented. My son didn't cry. That hurt more. He'd learned silence early from me, from watching how love could be conditional and still call itself family. My father cleared his throat. "You're being dramatic," he said. "It was a joke." I looked at my mother. She wouldn't meet my eyes. She never did when truth needed a witness. I bent down, took the bag from my son's hands. Inside was a clearance toy, plastic light, the kind that promises fun and delivers noise. I smiled. That was my mistake. Everyone thinks a smile is mercy. Growing up, my father taught me two things. Money is power, and power never apologizes. He built his reputation on grit and debt avoidance, mostly because he let other people drown first. Vendors waited, creditors begged, family covered. We always covered. When I left home, I swore I wouldn't become him. I became worse. I learned how to be patient. The red flags had been there for years, the casual insults dressed as humor, the way my father asked about my income before asking about my health, the sudden warmth when rent was due, the silence when I needed something that didn't involve money. At the party, I noticed how the other parents avoided my side of the room. They sensed blood before it spilled. My father raised his glass. "To family," he said. The word tasted rotten. That night, after I tucked my son into bed, I sat alone at the kitchen table. The house hummed. The walls listened. I opened my laptop. I didn't cry. I audited. The first file was easy. I'd helped him set up his accounts years ago. Just in case, he'd said. I'd kept access. Just in case meant everything. Then the pattern emerged. Missed payments, loans shuffled like shells in a street game, my name appearing where it shouldn't. I felt cold settled behind my eyes. He hadn't just borrowed. He'd leveraged me, quietly, repeatedly used my credit to prop his pride. The proof was undeniable. Digital fingerprints everywhere. He assumed I wouldn't look, that I'd stay grateful, small. That was the moment trust shattered. Not loudly, cleanly, like glass under pressure. I called him the next morning. He laughed. "You always were dramatic." I told him what I'd found. He denied it, then minimized it, then blamed me for not explaining boundaries. My mother got on the line, crying. "He didn't mean it. You know how he is." I did. That was the problem. When I hung up, my hands were steady. My chest wasn't. I sat on the floor and let the weight press down until breathing felt like work. My son peeked around the corner. "Are you okay?" I told him yes. I lied once more for the last time. I stopped confronting. I started documenting. I pulled records, dates, signatures. I traced every quiet theft back to its origin. Years of manipulation unfolded like a map. I could see where he thought I was blind, weak, useful. He'd taught me money was power. He'd forgotten I learned the lesson. I didn't warn him. I didn't threaten. I waited. When the creditors called, I answered politely and redirected. When the bank flagged anomalies, I supplied evidence. When the lawyer asked if I wanted to pursue action, I said yes without hesitation. The twist wasn't that he was broke. It was that his image was the collateral. The fallout was surgical. Accounts frozen, properties reviewed, misunderstandings clarified with documentation. Friends stopped calling him. Business partners backed away. The room where he once held court went quiet. My mother came over unannounced. She looked older, smaller. "He's not sleeping," she whispered. "He's scared." I nodded.
I made tea. "You could stop this," she whispered. I met her eyes. "So could he, years ago." She left without drinking the tea. The final blow was simple. At the next family gathering, smaller now, humbler, I handed my father an envelope. No speech, no audience. Inside was a statement. Clean, final, a settlement he couldn't afford to fight. He looked at me like he'd never seen me before, like I was a stranger who knew all his secrets. "You're doing this to your own father," he said. I leaned in. "No," I replied. "You did this. I just stopped paying for it." His hands shook. Mine didn't. That night I watched my son sleep. The toy from the party sat in the trash, forgotten. I didn't feel joy. I felt alignment, the kind that comes when the noise stops and the truth finally has room to breathe. I thought about power, about silence, about how revenge doesn't have to be loud to be complete. I turned off the light and stood there a moment longer than necessary. Then I let go, not because he deserved forgiveness, but because I'd already taken everything he used to control me. And this time the bill was paid.